Big Bang Theory Season 6 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am and rewatching and watching The Big Bang Theory, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description for you. If that happens to be the case and you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any sort of spoilers. This will be The Big Bang Theory Season 6, Episode 7. The title of this episode is called The Habitation Configuration. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode a few days ago. Another episode of Fun with Flags was Sheldon Cooper, exploring Star Trek flags. Our special guest, Will Wheaton, and during each point of this Fun with Flags, Amy keeps yelling cut, as she has an issue with Will Wheaton. And Will Wheaton calls Amy a pain in the ass. He's going to speak to Amy for a second. That's what Sheldon says to Will Wheaton. And Sheldon gives him a figure of himself and says, "You stay here and play with yourself." Now that was hilarious. So Amy's going to leave and Sheldon can have dinner with Will Wheaton. And Sheldon's like, "I'm glad that you agree with me," when that's not what Amy wanted. But Sheldon's, so closed off and doesn't really know what's going on half the time, even though he's this genius. Bernadette is upset that Howard keeps wanting to go home instead of staying at Bernadette's place. Sheldon tells Leonard about Amy and Will Wheaton having issues with each other, and Leonard tells Sheldon to call Amy. So Sheldon Skypes Amy, and Amy is very upset that Sheldon took Will Wheaton's side. Howard and Bernadette are having food at the Cheesecake Factory, and Howard gets really upset and said he can make decisions for himself, but that was only for Penny, and quickly apologizes to Bernadette. So when Penny was there, he got all upset, and then when she walked away, he's like, "I'm just kidding with you. That was just for her." Sheldon goes to Amy's place and gives her a gift, all the seasons of Star Trek, so she can get familiar with the work of the treasure known as Will Wheaton. That was funny. Howard's finally packing up his bedroom. Leonard makes a joke about if Howard's walls could talk, they'd ask why he touches himself so much. Sheldon goes to the Cheesecake Factory now, and Penny is bartending. Sheldon wants to have a conversation about girls. Ooh, interesting. Penny recommends a Long Island iced tea to Sheldon, and he says, "Sold." Sheldon thinks it's just tea, but this is Long Island iced tea. Long Island iced teas are pretty potent, depending on your bartender. Sheldon slams down the Long Island iced tea. Penny says, "You better pace yourself." Sheldon slams down his second Long Island iced tea. Yeah, he's gonna be wasted. Howard tells Bernadette a story about doing magic tricks and his mom being a volunteer, and she would smile and forget how lonely she was at Howard's magic show when they're at Bernadette's apartment. And then Bernadette says, "Oh, crap. Give me a box. We're sleeping at your mother's tonight. No husband of mine is going to break their mother's heart." Howard says, "I want to be here." "Well, you shouldn't have told me the magic story." Stumbling, Sheldon goes to Will Wheaton's place, and Will Wheaton asks, "Why are you here?" "You insulted my woman, and I'm here to defend her honor." Will Wheaton apologizes to Sheldon. All this way for not much. And then Sheldon pukes in Will Wheaton's shrubbery. And then we have another episode of Fun with Flags, and our guest is LeVar Burton with Fun with Flags. And Amy says cut yet again, and he's worse than Will Wheaton. Sheldon tells LeVar Burton that he's obligated to agree with his girlfriend, which is what ends the episode. I'm going to give this episode of The Big Bang Theory a 7.4 out of 10 because of the whole Sheldon stuff. I think that was really funny. I'm going to give Sheldon, the character of the episode, reason why him dealing with Amy and Will Wheaton's issues, him going to the Cheesecake Factory and having Long Island's from Penny and then slamming them, and then him confronting Will Wheaton, and then the issue gets resolved really quick. I think that's a good thing. And the funny part was him giving Amy all the seasons of Star Trek, whatever Will Wheaton Star Trek was on. I can't remember which one he's on. And then saying the treasure that is Will Wheaton, that was hilarious. So the problem is that Amy Farrah Fowler dumbs down Sheldon's character. He was much better on his own, in my opinion. And then you all know that I rate Penny, because that's the reason why I started watching The Big Bang Theory. I saw Penny on screen for this episode of The Big Bang Theory. I'm going to give her a 7.7 out of 10. So you've heard what I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of The Big Bang Theory and want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, go ahead and Hulk smash that like button, share this video with anybody that you know, or put this video on any of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comments section about what your thoughts are on this episode of The Big Bang Theory, your thoughts on my review. Who would be, or I should say, what would your score be of the episode, and who would be your character of the episode? If you want to rate Penny, like I do, you can go ahead and rate her, because she's the reason why I started watching this show. And then last, but certainly not least, watch all these videos I have here in the end screen if there's anything that you're interested in, and, you know, if you have the time, of course. Don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special, and JDev will return.